Thank you. I probably have to start with giving my apology because of my actually I'm losing my voice. I mean, it's been like already like 3 months. I don't know what happened. I know that I had a really cold winter, but that's why I had it. I don't know, but I try my best. But I don't sound good. But maybe just forgive me. Okay. Okay. I'm here to present about the application of the ACSI accreditation in more like in a Korean context. I use this one. Okay, I hear that like there are a lot of the many professor. This is also the group of professor. Then I try to write more like scholarly. So put refreshing memory of what I did. When I did like in my dissertation. But I put one as hypothesis. And actually before that. I was born and raised in Korea. Then God really given me special an opportunity to live in many different countries and different schools, public school, international school, and university levels. And then after for a long journey, then I came back in 2007. But when I came back to Korea, then a lot of things happened. One of them is education was collapse. That's everywhere I went, and people always say about we don't trust anymore. Our public school education, education is really bad, and student out of control. All the negative things about the Korean education, and then more and more alternative schools they are being created. Well, maybe like one or two, many schools in a day, on a week or a month, but simultaneously, well, same number of the school or maybe more or less, school actually closing down because they don't know how to operate, and a lot of still, I'm meeting the head of the school, and then they express that, we are so passionate about Christian education, which hallelujah, amen, but simultaneously, they really struggling as well because we don't know honestly how to do and what to do because in not my area. I know that many now more and more now head of the school, the Christian educator now just in the training session they learn through the trial and error. But then I bet more and more familiar with and more expertise in this area. But I'm still a long way to go. I believe that. That's why I'm here to introduce about ACSI accreditation. I know that I really respect GAA because I've been through that too, and many other agencies accreditation manual a way to do it. But I'm here to represent of the ACSI. I'm more focused on ACSI accreditation. Here's my hypothesis. School accredited with ACSI accreditation will provide a higher quality Christian education to our children. Well, then some other areas, especially in Korea, what is status quo right now is we have many Korean mission schools. Now we treat them more like in a public school. Then more nowadays, including our school, Handong International School, like a Korean alternative school or like a registered school. I believe that more and more schools getting accredited by Ministry of Education. And then third, there are lots of them right now, right? So Korean non-registered alternative schools. And then what I'm saying is more like I'm covering the Christian school because we here talk about Christian. Then another one is also church sponsor, which we call that church school. Then many schools. I believe that this is my hypothesis. Then using the ACSI accreditation, that'll improve the quality Christian education. That's what I believe the hypothesis. Next slide. I mean, just telling you, introducing a little bit about the ACSI. ACSI is an association. It's not an American. I kind of had a typo there. Like it's not American Christian School International, like Association of the Christian School International. They headquartered in Colorado Springs, the U.S., and it is a nonprofit Christian organization, served more than almost like 6,000 Christian schools in the world, over like 100 countries worldwide. It is a faith-based education service association, and also has the network of the 18 regional offices through the world. And ACSI has been serving many schools, educators, and children, over 1 million. The accreditation is, as you know, I believe that many of you are familiar with what the accreditation is and process are. The accreditation is a process of recognizing and assessing education institute for their standard performance, integrity, and quality, and many more. But I might just shorten this. This is kind of the definition of that. But ACSI, what's unique about the again, ACSI, ACSI accreditation has many recognition nowadays. As you see, ACSI accreditation recognize many states, more like in the U.S. side, with as state government, educational department, and also that the WASC and NAAC and many other accrediting agencies, and now College Board, and many other agencies and state government, and ACSI accreditation is recognized with that. Next one is that here, like I'm gonna spend a little bit more time about the what ACSI when accreditation is looking at, when they visit it and then see. This also can give you good information, and in terms of the how you start the school, how you develop, and how you maintain, how you gonna develop more in that way. Obviously this 10 area you're not gonna mess up. I mean, this more like you have to do compliance with that. Otherwise, in all school, I don't think that you're getting accredited with that. But philosophy and governance and home, community relations, student services, personnel, instructional program, library, technology, media services, crisis planning, safety, health, and food, nutrition, service, facility, environment, transportation, character, value, and spiritual formation, and continuous improvement plan. Those I believe that the many, if you are leading and managing the school, but you understand what I'm talking about. These all areas, you have to develop, make one, and then provide it in a quality way. And here, ACSI, I still am studying, about these, two manuals. And actually, we call it like a REACH program here. REACH stands for as a Reaching for Excellence through Accreditation and Continuous Improvement for Higher Achievement. Then, yes, I was, chatting with Dr. Edlin, and then you're the one actually published, made the one, international accreditation manual before.
The very first ACSI accreditation document.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I better keep my mouth shut then, right? Anyway, just thanks for the good the start. Anyway, just it seems like the ACSI standard been developing more and more. That once I wish really the share with this information with you, you'll see how thoroughly this manual is going to be, and each standard more like empirical studies and the very good rationale behind. They just they describe and list it out, and each standard impacts on the other and plays a major part in the overall effectiveness for school improvement and growth. And each standard describes what would be observable and supportable in school that are effectively putting in practice, and all standards provide a great clarity of best practice for each standard. That means that it's not about the only theory we put it on there, Well, through the, like I said, trial error or through the other empirical study, were all just, made by that. That's, all the, the behind the kind of background of it. Also, this standard developed absolutely assist the school, but many times like visiting, sometimes like people think that the visiting team comes and they look at the side, oh, your school's good, your school's not, but they say that based on the the standard, based on the all this information inside, not by like their feeling. Well, I mean, you give me the like a really good breakfast and then we give you the better accreditation. It's not like that. So it's very also very quality work, and I really respect and appreciate that. And another beauty parts of the this ACSI accreditation is very your school. I think I'm gonna like say one more, but I'm like there's Michael Fullan, who is in public school, but he wrote about the new meaning of the educational change, and he talks about how important the school cultural. That means the school uniqueness. I think one of the problem Korean education, especially public education, faces because we always see the uniform system. Oh, you deviate that, you're wrong, you're a criminal, right? But that's in a totally different way. ACSI accreditation, very focused on your school. That means that really developing, encouraging to like develop uniqueness of the school and then culture of the school. That's why you call it self-study. Many teachers, excuse me, and staff in the school, they're so frustrated because so much work. We buy like a subgroup, divided by focus group, group, committee, and all teachers, parents, and students even, they participate in that process. It takes about usually about 3 or 4 years. Then it is like a good self-study, but then like staff and teachers and everybody get more familiar with about how the schools operated. How many do you think that the teachers know what like school administrators doing well? Not very well. They do focus on their job, which is teaching. That's it. But once you go through the self-study process, you obviously that process is really difficult and hard. But after that, well people, teachers, and all staff in the school, right? Get stick more to the school. Then they really being proud of them, being a like Christian educator, and then they really respect the way doing it and what's happening in their school. So it is a really good good process. You think about that. You don't study, you don't learn. That's same the way you can think about that. These all the standard made it by behind this rationale. Sounds terrible. Well, I'm showing one of the example. Here side, for example, the school program conduct regular demographic assessment of its constituents in light of the state missions. Then we have 4 difference. One in non-compliance, and then partial, and compliance, and exceeding the compliance. And school at least have that partial compliance. But some other area, and they must have the certain expectation from the ACSI accreditation. I'll share with you about the one of complementary. Here's Ken Tennis, Delaware Christian School, Pennsylvania. I cannot think of any action taken by the school that produce more total school benefit than the decision to attain accredited status. Curriculum quality is strengthened, school policies are refined, school achievement enhanced, and future direction strengthened. Without accreditation, the attainment of the overall excellence for Christian schools is difficult. Well, that's why one of the I mean, the participant who went through the process, and then that's their feedback. Trust me, somehow just I think that's probably God's plan. I was working in Yongsan International School, that time International Christian School, and then one school in China, Singapore. All the school I went, they went through the accreditation process, and the teacher, some other teacher, actually they give up their job, their position because of that, because of lots of extra work. Another, this is the I'm not absolutely go by with just score, but I mean here this is a comparison of the public school, that's a national individual norm, and that is national ACSI norm. And then you see that the kindergarten through, here's like, school, which which been like accredited, their score also like higher than the public school and national norm system. That means that not only for the spiritual, but academically, their school went through the accreditation. Well, that's it showed good data for that. Okay, here's the also God bless me being in the ACSI accreditation committee for a long time. I think more than 15 years. Yeah, I'm not that old, but yeah, that when I was young, I started like getting involved that. And then recently, our in the Handong International School, like first school who being accredited by the Ministry of Education, and it's totally my feedback about that. Compare two systems of the one like a Korean accreditation process and the other, which is an ACSI, accreditation process, is some other some other things in common, like lots of work, lots of paperwork, and those are like very common issues between two. But here's ACSI. Both they comply with their like a standard, more like a rubric type, based on rubric. They do that. But here, one of the interesting, ACSI do the 10 standard as I share or compliance, but Korean accreditation process, they're very focused on facility and money. Then when you get it, done it, that means I'll say about more than 90%. Then you're already approved that. That means that they always should look at, I don't know why, I just say look at the only finance part and facility part, the major. Absolutely, the ACSI is an ongoing process. Some other school, they got a 6-year term, 3-year term, even like a first-year term, or they don't get one. But Korean accreditation process, this is a one-time deal. Once you get accredited, that means that without causing too much trouble, your accreditation go forever, right? But that's well, think about the quality work and think about what is in the right process. Well, then you already know the answers. The other one is like I shared, for administrator, teacher, parents, and student, they all participate in the process. But instead, well, in our school case, probably 4 people, myself and assistant principal, business manager, and head teacher, we just put our head together. Oh, your part is this and that, and then we done all the paperwork. But once they start announcing, then teachers, wow, we're getting credited, hallelujah, But the process, teachers, they're not very familiar with that. But another one is the ACSI, with a certain number, the accreditation can start. That means like after the school opening, we start the process. But Korean one is the before school start, you got to get credited. So you don't see what possibly can be the problem there. But I don't mean to be very critical about the Korean educational system, but compared to the two, then I see that what is exactly how I experienced that. Well, like I shared, the uniqueness, quite important. School culture, they have to keep it. Like in our school, it's more like a Korean type of international school. Keep it. That's the recommendation of the ACSI. But we're here, if I, the Korean accreditation system, if I start like deviating it, well, then you're wrong. Well, why don't you be same like this? Don't cause, trouble, That's the, accreditation, the suggestion from the actually more like in the Gyeongbuk province education. Then this is, I say, most important one, that accountability. I don't know why, if I just give my name to, Dr. Seong, I probably watched him. He's using my name right way or wrong, but somehow like in a Korean accreditation system, once you've done it, then, well, there's no other accountability. They gotta keep calm, supervise, and something seems like go wrong, and they gotta interrupt, do the intervention, and then improve the school, but there's no other feedback. So I quickly share about the two system, which I already experienced that. Here's some discussion part that like shared the Michael Fullan talks about in his book New Meaning of the Educational Change, and he talks about the federal level, state, university, and school levels, which is in Korea we say the national, province, and university and school level. But all those levels important, gotta be there, but especially in school. He more emphasized on the school. In the school, there gotta be a change. That means that what? They gotta have more freedom. School gotta have authority to do that. But in Korea, we always talk about maybe this is such a small country. That's why Ministry of Education try to focus on national standard, province, bum bum bum. But schools being kind of many times ignored that. I encourage brother and sister. This is the time that we have to reborn about the Christian education. I really appreciate KS. I'm sorry. This conference group. Professor, you gotta help me out. Help us out. That we have to get together. That we have to create the true meaning of the Christian education. What happened? Historically Christian education enlightened this country and lead education. But at a certain point, the Christian education, we actually stopped studying about it. We just started ignoring that. That's what happened. What's happening? We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I really like to encourage you. Then what will happen is just my dream. Quality Christian school will impact on Korean education system. Why? Because it's good, but because it's true. That's very simple enough. But we many times we've been forgetting what's calling, what is the ministry God given us. I know, especially professor group. I mean, you've been leading this country. Well, that's quite true. But that's why sometimes I'm more being challenged. Oh, should I go to university and then college professor and then more influence just in Korean education? But I have my own God's calling. But please, I'd like to encourage you. But let's just work together. Well, for the glory of God. Okay, thank you.